Hi, this is Melissa with Little Black Desk Society. I'm excited to have Dondrea with the Creative CFO with me today, and she is going to share with us a little bit about her experience in the Academy. Hi, Dondrea. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, so I'm Dondrea Owens. I'm the CPA for creative entrepreneurs who struggle with how much to pay themselves and how to reinvest in their business and how much to save. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so I help them get a handle on their finances and feel more confident about the money that they make and spend.
Very important because there's a lot of taboo and misconversations around money, not only personally,
Absolutely.
but professionally. It's really important as entrepreneurs and founders. So, what were you looking for originally when you were looking at online communities for women business owners?
Well, I was really looking for community, real community, an engaged audience. I wanted business owners that were at multiple levels or multiple stages of their business. So the person who is really seasoned, who's been in business over 5 years, because her challenges are different from the one who's just starting or who's in that growth stage. So I kind of wanted to have all levels. And then being engaged. So I didn't want a community that was huge and that the people didn't feel comfortable interacting with each other. I wanted us to be able to talk and share no matter what stage of business we were in. And I also wanted to be able to contribute something. I didn't want, business owners who were so far along that me being a newbie at the time didn't have anything to give. So those are the things I was looking for.
I love that. And it's especially like two things that you said stood out to me, the engagement factor, because I think the community is about engagement, but also relationships
Mm-hmm.
and being able to ask each other questions and share experiences and stories is so important.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. And I love that what was important to you was an opportunity for you to share your knowledge
Mm-hmm.
because that's where you feel of a value and appreciate it, but also other people can learn from you and
Right.
ask you questions and connect.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that cycle where that give and take, and it's
Right.
rewarding for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
What are the three factors that determine whether you join a community or not?
Oh, for me, it's the size. So again, I've been in larger communities before and not really been able to develop those relationships, like you said. So I wanted something that felt good for me size wise, and that provided a value that was equal to or greater than the cost of being in that membership group. Because cost was a factor for me. Like I said, I've paid for membership groups in the past and not really gotten as much out of them as I wanted as far as the education piece and relationship building. So I was very much aware of it this time going into it, what I was looking for. And I'll have to say for the group, I got more than, or I get more than I pay for it every single month. So yeah, no questions there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So for anybody that's watching this, what do you define as large for a community?
Large for me would be like the 500 to 1,000 range. And some of those, and that's just not even the people who are interacting. Sometimes that's just the roster of people who have joined, and you might not ever hear from them. And that was another thing. I wanted everyone to be engaged and for us to really, be able to call on one another, and develop those relationships because we are virtual. So that it makes a difference that you show up and show your face and you get that in the academy.
Thank you. We do work really hard to be intentional about those connections. And to your point about seeing faces and knowing like who you can count on, that's
Hmm.
why it's important that we do face and video calls, especially
Right.
when we do lessons and share content, because we want to see who's behind the screen. And
Hmm.
it helps you create a connection if you know who you're talking to.
Right.
It's not just a emoji or an avatar that's out there that you really don't know like the emotion or the context of the situation. And so
Hmm.
seeing people's body language and their emotions come through when we have these video chats, probably one of my favorite parts, because now that person that's followed you on Instagram or engaged with you in the academy, you get to finally see who they are, and
Right.
it's rewarding.
Yeah. And it makes it feel like a safe space because you never know who's lurking behind a screen name with no picture, and you're sharing information about your business and your growth, and you're being really vulnerable, but you don't know who's on the other side. So I really value that about the Academy because I know exactly who I'm talking to. I know what their business is, so there's no fear in sharing there for me.
I love that you said the vulnerability part, because vulnerability is not one way, it's two way. And so you have to have that trust involved, and that trust comes with both parties coming in and being transparent in who they are and authentic of their story and what they're bringing to the table. And those create like the foundation where you can be vulnerable, like you said, and open up. What persuaded you to join the Academy, and how long have you been a member?
Okay, so I've been a member for over a year. I'm not exactly sure how long, but I know it's been over a year. And I came in, we met on Instagram, and I joined the mastermind group at that time because I was looking for a small circle, and I really enjoyed the information that I got from your blog. So joined the masterminds, and after that, it was just a no-brainer. And one of the things that set it apart was that I knew I would continue to get access to you and all of your knowledge, which is awesome. Because I'll tell you one thing that I didn't have in some of those other membership groups I was a part of. The founder didn't interact or didn't share. It wasn't as organized. But here it's not like that. You're just as engaged as we are, which is awesome. So that's one of the things. So it was just a continuation of the masterminds and, staying in touch with everyone.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I think I've been in groups like yourself, and I think we initially come into online communities because of the founder or whoever's leading the community. And so we want to continue that relationship and that connection.
Right.
And my experience having led teams, I use that same thought process for me, that if I'm building a community or if I'm building the Academy, then I'm responsible for the culture inside of it and the engagement and the people that are inside. So part of that is leading by example and engaging in starting conversations or contributing to them. And so I'm glad that you see that happening.
I do.
When was a specific time where you felt the Academy was able to impact your business? Something that you, like either a conversation or a question that was spawned?
There's been so many times, but I will say one in particular I remember was the frenzy about GDPR. And I was all over the place looking for information about it. There were free webinars out that, led you into a sales thing. There was so much information out there, and I almost ran myself crazy with it. And I remember you put out a post, an article, and it said, just the background on it, who it's for, and what you need to do. And if you do those things, you're good. And then you even sent us an email, for us to opt in and stuff. And so we got to see a real life example because you were doing it in your own business. And I literally was just like, you know what, next time something comes out, I'm just going to wait until Melissa does it. And then she's going to put it in the group and it's going to be easy peasy.
That was a tough one. But I will say my experience having been in healthcare and working with compliance and all the things in that industry made it easy when it came, easier when it came to GDPR, because I'm like, okay, what is the bare minimum that we need to know to implement now to be in compliance with this new mandate as much as we can, and then the rest will roll with the punches. Because reading through it at the time, it was so new to everybody that I knew no one had the absolute answer. So and then sharing it with you guys, because I think that's part of leadership and a community. Again, that we're only as good as the weakest link in the chain, and everyone perceives the community, like the industry, the same way. So if someone has a bad experience with somebody else, that it's going to sometimes make them have a salty taste in their mouth if they go to somebody else because they've been burned once. And so if we can help each other in, okay, being the best business women that we can be, it's going to elevate everybody in that sense.
Right. Yeah.
And then it helps the clients.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's our biggest struggle, and that, building the trust from the clients to buy from us. And that comes from us doing good work in our business.
Very true.
What factors determine whether you stay or leave in a community? And the reason that I ask this question is because a lot of times, like you said, there are things that you're looking for when you come into a community, and it can be part of a pitch, but then once you get in, the dynamic may be different, or it may change during the lifetime, or your needs may change. So what are some of the things that determine whether you stay or leave in a community?
I'm going to say engagement for sure. And we have a good thing in the academy because it's a requirement for you to be engaged, or you're no longer in the academy. So I mean, but it's good because it's one of those things where you have to decide up front, I'm going to show up for the people here, and and be involved and be engaged. And so there's a sense of responsibility. So I look for that for sure. Also fresh content, and we get that all the time. It's daily. So that's the main thing that keeps me around, is the fresh content and the consistent engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you think, and since you mentioned content, do you have preferences as far as whether it's themed content or whether the content is relevant to what's going on in day-to-day business?
Yeah. Well, I always look for things that I'm working on right now, and I'm working on my systems because I'm in the growth stage. So no matter when I look in the academy, even if it's, not been over the past 2 weeks, the archives are gold. I can go back and pull a post from last year and find value in that. And then sometimes the topics that come up are things that I didn't even realize I need to consider in my business. Maybe I haven't gotten to that point yet, or just simply don't know about it. But it kind of puts it in the back of my mind as something that I need to tackle at some point, even if it's not an immediate need.
Something that I want to ask you about that you had mentioned is the archives. So what's your experience navigating and finding things, whether it's like after the fact or when you're looking for information about a specific topic?
Okay. So I've done like the keyword search where I just go in and type in a word. But also the way the topics in the academy are set up, you could just go in and click on, systems or productivity, and come up with a list of things, and then just kind of decide from there. So I like the way it's set up. It's easy to search. It's easy to find stuff.
What would you say is something different between the academy and other online communities that you've been are a part of?
So the ones that I've paid for in the past, and I've actually paid double or triple what the academy costs, have been more chat room style. It's been a little more self-promotion, even though it might hide behind helpful. And like I said, the founder hasn't really been engaged to even moderate those things, or to just sort of steer those conversations, or to share her knowledge. So that's one of the things I see is really different here in the academy, is we don't have that. We all know what the other does, which is great. It's easy to find out, go and read a profile and get to know each other, but there's no push, there's no sales pitch, so the information we share is the information we share. And if you need help, we're available to help. And even if that means hiring us outside of the forum, which you and I have done, sessions. And I think that's important, because you've never said, hey, if you're interested, let's do a session, but I know you're available, and I know you're my go-to person because I trust you, So that's one of the things, the biggest difference I see in the academy and some of those other paid groups I was a part of.
I think to your point, as far as like the knowing what each person does and people just sharing information, like we're sharing our experiences and our best practices and our knowledge. And like when we do that openly and freely, because we have built those relationships with each other, because we see each other, we know who's on the other end of the screen,
Right.
then we've built that trust, and that we know that the other person knows what they're talking about, and that when they share, we listen. And
Right.
so I think it also is more freeing that we share information as well, because we know the other person that we're either helping or answering a question for, and then if we need them, then we can go look at their profile and schedule an appointment or whatever, like however
Right.
we want to take that offline.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite feature of the platform? Because again, the Academy is not on Facebook, and because it's on its own private platform, what do you like best about how we've set that up?
It's easy to go from my phone or my laptop, just depending on, if I'm sitting at my desk or if I'm out and about. I do love having the app. That makes a big difference in my engagement, and how often I get on the platform. So that's good. Sometimes just getting little notifications, check-ins from people, you get a notification on your phone, you check in and pop in to check in on someone. I like having the app.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it makes it easier with your schedule, since you have such a busy schedule with just your
Yeah,
personal and professional life?
it does. Yeah, because I can even attend the live chats from my phone. So that makes a difference. Yeah, I'm going to say the app is the best thing. Yeah.
What advice would you give to other women business owners who are looking to join a community?
I would say try it out. Test out the community that you think you want to be a part of, and see if you feel like you belong there. Like if you can be challenged, if you can see yourself growing in that community. I think that's the most important thing, is to really go all in, and see if it works for you. And if it does, for you to make a commitment to be involved in that community and for you to contribute just as much as you take. Because I feel like that's the way I've gotten the most out of being in the academy, is being able to give as much as is given to me.
Because people know you then.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they're like, Dondrea is available. This is what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So I love that. And that segues perfect. So for those that are inside the Academy, or for those that have not joined us yet, Dondrea also hosts Finance Chat Fridays for us in the Academy. And we started that this year after she had already been in the Academy and through the Mastermind membership, just because I had seen her expertise and her passion for discussing finances with entrepreneurs and small business owners. So, Dondrea, tell us a little bit about what's inside the finance group that you've created within the Academy.
Okay. So much like I share on Instagram, I love to share affirmations and quotes to keep us inspired around money, because it is such a taboo topic and sometimes it can be downright depressing. So I want to, sort of inspire you to stay encouraged about your finances, and to always be moving forward, with getting better and so forth. So I also share articles. I try to have a topic for the month, and those are things that small business owners either have encountered in the past or currently going through, just things that you need more guidance around. And then for the live chats, it is a guided chat, but I love to have questions and interaction, because I feel like it's the one place you can come and ask those questions and not be worried about, what it might seem like. I want you to be completely transparent about, the questions you have, and know that they're being answered by a professional. And you're not just searching endless forums or Google for the answer.
And you do a great job about that. One of the things that I
Thank
enjoy when
you.
I participate in the chats with you is when the conversation, seeing other people, that we're not alone in some of the choices or the challenges that we encounter with money. And so when we open up and share and have those in conversation, then it opens up a whole nother dialogue, which
Right.
sometimes can be really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And other times it can be really informative and encouraging. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Thank you so much for joining us today, Dondrea, and sharing your story about online communities for women small business owners and your experience within the Academy. I love having you here. And for those that have not joined us yet, feel free to visit our website, littleblackdesksociety.com, and look under our services for the Academy. You can check out a 7-day free trial, and we would love to have you and have you share your stories and your experiences so we can build a connection with you. Thank you.
Thank you.